At the start of the anime, we see the main lead, Taiki, heading to school early in the morning for his sports practice. As soon as he arrives and opens the door, bam! A ball smacks him right in the face. Just then, Chinatsu rushes over to him and says, "Please forgive me. It was an accident, and it looks like it really hurt." She then pulls out a chocolate and hands it to Taiki, saying, "Here, take this. Please don't be mad." Taiki thinks to himself, who could possibly stay mad at such a cute face? Of course, I'll forgive her. After this, Taiki introduces himself. "I study at Aime Private High School. This school is super popular for sports, and I'm a badminton player. Chinatsu, on the other hand, is the star player of the girls' basketball team, and I have a huge crush on her." In the next scene, Taiki tells his friend, "I wish I could marry Chinatsu. She'd wake me up in the morning, make me coffee, and I'd drink it while staring at her beautiful face." His friend Kyu snaps back, "Snap out of it. Chinatsu isn't just a regular basketball player. She's a big deal, even outside our school. And look at you. You haven't even made a name for yourself in badminton yet. She's way out of your league." Caillou continues, "If you ask me, you should focus on your sport first." Taiki replies with determination, "At least let me try once." Caillou smirks, "You can try all you want, but if you really want to get her attention, do something that'll make her remember your name forever. Oh, and while you're at it, get her number too." Just then, Taiki's friend, Hina, walks in. She's on the gymnastics team. Taiki turns to Hina and asks, "Hey, tell me something. What do girls like in a guy? And how do I impress them?" Hina's eyes sparkle with excitement. "Oh, that's easy. You have to act like a true gentleman and show how strong you are." Hearing this, Taiki sighs in disappointment. "Yeah, that's definitely not me." The next morning, Taiki heads to practice and sees Chinatsu sitting outside the arena. He watches her from a distance and thinks, "This is my chance to talk to her. If I don't do it now, I never will." Just then, Chinatsu sneezes. Without thinking, Taiki quickly takes off his scarf and hands it to her. "Here, take this. Oh, and you can drink my hot tea too. It'll warm you up." He starts rummaging through his bag, pulling out more things before realizing, "Wait, what am I even doing?" Right then, Taiki sneezes too. Chinatsu smiles and wraps his own scarf around his neck. "I think you need this more than I do." Taiki's heart races as he thinks, when we get married, she's totally going to help me tie my tie like this every morning. Just then, the guard arrives and unlocks the arena doors. Chinatsu turns to Taiki and says, "Take care of yourself, Taiki." Taiki blinks in surprise. "Wait, you know my name?" Chinatsu giggles. "Your mom is really nice." Taiki looks down at his scarf and freezes. His mom had stitched his name on it. He turns red with embarrassment. During break time, Taiki thinks, "All right, my next goal, get Chinatsu's phone number." Just then, he spots Chinatsu talking to her coach. Before he can get closer, Hina appears out of nowhere and starts teasing him. Taiki wonders, what is she talking about with her coach? Later, Taiki suddenly remembers, "My scarf! I left it in the arena." When he goes back to get it, he finds Chinatsu practicing alone. Chinatsu notices him and asks, "Taiki, what are you doing here?" Taiki scratches his head. Just came to get my scarf. But hey, why are you still practicing this late?" Chinatsu sighs. "I'm not satisfied with my performance, so I thought I'd get in some extra practice." The two of them decide to play a one-on-one match. Within seconds, Chinatsu completely destroys Taiki in the game. The next morning, Taiki is in the kitchen asking his mom to pack his lunch. She's reading a magazine with an article about Chinatsu. Taiki asks curiously, "Wait, do you know Chinatsu?" His mom nods. "Of course, but why do you sound so excited?" She continues, "Chinatsu's mom and I used to play basketball together back in the day. We were really good friends. It's amazing to see her daughter becoming such a great athlete. But there's a big problem. Chinatsu's father is getting transferred, so she might have to quit sports." Taiki's eyes widen in shock. "What? No way." Without wasting a second, he grabs his bag and rushes to school. Taiki finds Chinatsu and says, "You have to go international. You're the one who taught me to never give up, so you can't let your dream go just because your dad is moving." Chinatsu looks confused. "Wait, what? Taiki, what are you even talking about?" Taiki stares at her, speechless. Chinatsu laughs and says, "Yeah, my parents are moving, but I'm staying here with my mom's relatives." She smiles softly. "To be honest, it'll feel really lonely without them, but there's no way I'm giving up on my international dream. Oh, and thanks for worrying about me." In the next scene, Taiki is feeling super happy. He walks into the kitchen, and his jaw drops. Chinatsu is standing there. She turns to him and says cheerfully, "Good morning, Taiki." Taiki stands frozen in shock. What? What is happening? Just then, his mom and Chinatsu's mom walk in. His mom grins. "I told you, didn't I? Chinatsu's dad is getting transferred, so she's going to be living with us from now on. Taiki is completely dumbfounded. What just happened to my life? Taiki's family welcomes Chinatsu, but he can't believe she's actually going to be living in his house for 2 whole years. He thinks, how am I even supposed to manage this? Chinatsu walks up to him and says, your mom told me to tell you to go take a shower. Embarrassed, Taiki pretends to be deeply engrossed in reading a comic book. Chinatsu notices and leans in. Wow, you read this too? Taiki's heartbeat spikes. He stammers, if you want, you can keep it. Chinatsu smiles. Thank you so much. I was really nervous before, but spending time with you has actually made me feel a lot better. Taiki goes completely blank after hearing that. The next day, Taiki is practicing badminton when Kyo walks up to him and says, I know you're ridiculously happy that you and Chinatsu are living together. Don't let anyone at school find out. Chinatsu is insanely popular. If people knew, they'd totally get the wrong idea. Hearing that, Taiki gets nervous. Kyo smirks. Still, you're pretty lucky. Taiki sighs. Yeah, but after seeing her determination, I've decided I'm not going to confess to her. I need to focus on getting better at my game. I'm aiming for nationals this summer. Q bursts out laughing. What are you even saying? With your current level, going to nationals is impossible. Taiki replies, I know it's tough, but I can at least try. He keeps practicing meanwhile. Hina arrives and asks Q, why is Taiki practicing so late today? Q replies, he's set a goal for himself, to make it to nationals. Hina raises an eyebrow. Do you really think he can make it? Later that night, Taiki is working out at home when he checks a video of his own gameplay on his phone. But as soon as he notices Chinatsu standing nearby, he panics and quickly hides his phone. She asks, what are you watching? Come on, let me see. Taiki gets flustered. I was just watching my gameplay, but I'm not showing you. Chinatsu tilts her head. But I watch you play every day. It's only fair that I get to see. Taiki is stunned. Wait, she watches me play too? Hesitantly, he hands her his phone. Chinatsu is impressed. Wow, Taiki, you're really good. Taiki says, I'm not that great yet. I still have a long way to go. My speed and skills aren't at a national level. Chinatsu's eyes light up. Wait, nationals? Taiki panics. No, I didn't say anything. Crap, I wasn't planning on telling her about that yet. Chinatsu smiles reassuringly. Don't worry, you'll totally make it to nationals. Taiki blushes. Chinatsu steps out of the room and returns with something in her hand. She says, holding out a good luck bracelet. I made this myself. Do you like it? Before she can finish speaking, Taiki quickly grabs the bracelet from her hand and says, I love it. Chinatsu sighs. You don't even know how to tie a bracelet properly. Hold on, let me do it. She kneels down and gently ties it for him. Taiki feels a heavenly sensation and thinks, no matter what happens, I have to make it to nationals. Then, Chinatsu shows her foot. She's wearing the same kind of bracelet. She says, I really hope we both make it to nationals. Next morning, Taiki is heading out early for practice when Chinatsu stops him. She asks, why are you going so early for practice? Taiki replies, I'm a junior, so I figured I should go early and help set things up. Hearing this, Chinatsu says, all right, make sure to practice well. Taiki arrives at arena and starts setting things up. Hina shows up and asks, so, is there something going on between you and that basketball girl? If something's up, you can tell me, you know. Taiki insists, no, there's nothing like that between us. Hina grins. Oh, really? Have you figured out her phone password yet? Taiki keeps denying everything but thinks to himself, yeah, no way I'm telling Hina anything. She'd spread it all over the school. After they finish their run, Chinatsu suddenly appears and hands Taiki his wallet. She says, you forgot this at home? Taiki says, oh, I must have dropped it somewhere. Thanks for bringing it back. Chinatsu watches the whole exchange with a weird expression and then walks away. Later, Taiki tells Q everything. Q sighs and says, you should have just told Chinatsu that we'd keep things private at school. But honestly, from the way you acted, she might think you're not interested in her at all. Just then, the coach arrives and says, can you guys move these chairs to another section? Taiki and Q grab the chairs and start carrying them. Meanwhile, the coach calls over Chinatsu and Hina as well. Taiki sees them approaching and is surprised. What are they doing here? As they all start moving the chairs, Taiki offers to help Chinatsu, but Chinatsu simply says, thanks, without any reaction and keeps walking. That seriously annoys Taiki. While carrying the chairs, Hina turns to Chinatsu. Can I ask you something? Do you have a boyfriend? Chinatsu replies, no, I don't. Hina continues, don't you think you should have a boyfriend? You know, someone to hang out with? Chinatsu says, not really. To be honest, I'm just not interested in that kind of thing. I need to focus on basketball. Taiki, listening, thinks to himself, yeah, I already knew I had no chance as a boyfriend. Later that day, Taiki is practicing when he notices Chinatsu fall on the basketball court. She gets slightly injured, but he doesn't move to help. During the break, Chinatsu quietly fills her water bottle. Taiki walks up to Chinatsu and asks, "Are you okay? I saw you fall on the court." Chinatsu looks at him and says, "Aren't we pretending to be strangers?" Taiki sighs. "I'm really sorry. I acted that way because I don't want everyone at school to find out we live together. If they do, people will start making up stories, and it'll just distract us from practice." Chinatsu says, "That's all?" Taiki says, "Yeah, what did you think?" Chinatsu says, "I thought maybe you liked that girl and that's why you were acting weird." Taiki shakes his head. No. Hina is just a friend. There's nothing like that between us." Hearing this, Chinatsu looks relieved. They start chatting and laughing like before, but from a distance, Hina watches them. Next scene, the badminton coach gathers everyone and announces, "The national premiere is coming up soon, starting next week." Kyu turns to Taiki. "First, you'll need to make it into the top 16, and last year's top player was Haryu. He placed third at nationals. If you want to go to nationals, you'll have to beat him." Taiki glances toward the pavilion and notices a crowd forming. Kyu smirks. "Don't worry, they're not here to watch us. They're here to see Chinatsu and Hina." Taiki and Kyu turn to watch Hina's performance. When she finishes, she walks over to them with a grin. She says, "So, how long have you two been watching me? Now pay up." Taiki frowns. "Are you out of your mind?" Hina says, "Fine, I'll let you guys off the hook this time. You wouldn't know beauty if it hit you in the face." Taiki says, "Please, just stop talking. After school." Taiki leaves school early, but as he's walking, he hears footsteps behind him. He turns around to see Hina following him. Taiki asks, "What are you doing here?" "Your house is in the opposite direction." Hina says, "Yeah, but there's a famous chiropractor near your place. I'm heading there." Taiki tenses up, thinking, if Hina sees Chinatsu going to my house, it's game over. He quickly says, "All right, then hurry up." On the way, Hina gets distracted by a puppy and stops. Taiki grabs her wrist and pulls her along. But then she sits down in front of a restaurant and starts rambling about sugar content in different foods and how she gained weight. Taiki sighs, "You're fine just the way you are." Hina smirks. "Oh, are you getting all sentimental on me?" Taiki panics. "No, that's not what I meant." They start walking again, but then Taiki glances back and sees Chinatsu laughing with Haryu standing close to him. Taiki freezes. Hina says to Taiki, "Don't overthink it. They are friends like us and are going home together." The next day in school, Taiki sees Chinatsu and Haryu. They are quite close. Hina explains they are classmates and representatives. Taiki becomes depressed. Hina says, "Don't worry, you remember Chinatsu said she wants to focus on basketball, so there won't be anything like that." Taiki says, "You can't exactly stop yourself from falling in love." The ball bounces and comes to Taiki. Chinatsu comes to get the ball and Taiki speaks formally. Chinatsu asks, "When will your practice end?" "I forgot my house key." Taiki says, 7 o'clock. Chinatsu says, "Okay, same time for me." Just then, Haryu comes there and says to Chinatsu, "Hey, Chi." Taiki is shocked hearing Chi from Haryu and starts running home thinking Haryu calls her Chi, and both are superstars of their respective teams. Taiki gives up and thinks, he's not in my league. Just then, Chinatsu also comes home. Chinatsu says to Taiki, "You came early. The badminton players were going to the club. You reached home before them." Taiki says in his mind, "Badminton players means Haryu. I'm going to my room." Chinatsu stops him and asks, "Did you run home? You have sweat on your face and look tired. Did you do this so you wouldn't have to wait outside if I got home before you?" Taiki says, "No, you're wrong. I was just doing my training. That's why I came running. I'm going for a run again." Taiki compares himself to Haryu and thinks, I shouldn't care what people are saying to Chinatsu and who she is hanging out with. The next day, on the scoreboard, Taiki has won against players of his level. Haryu and Chinatsu are talking. Seeing them, Taiki feels strange. Haryu and Taiki have a badminton match. Taiki sees that Chinatsu is also watching the match. Taiki is losing in the first round. Taiki motivates himself and says, "I'm playing badminton for myself, not for Chinatsu. I like to play." In the second round, Taiki's shoelaces come undone. He bends down to tie them and remembers that he has Chinatsu's charm tied to his foot. He gets motivation from it and is able to tackle all of Haryu's throws. Seeing this, Kyu and Hina, and even the seniors, are shocked, but the match is over, and Taiki loses. Kyu says to Taiki, "You performed better than the first round. You should be happy." Taiki says, "I know it's tough to play against Haryu, but I'm angry that I lost." Chinatsu comes and says to Taiki, "Come with me quickly. The sun is about to set." They both arrive in a park. Chinatsu brings a badminton racket and says to Taiki, "Do you remember? You said we could play badminton someday?" Taiki thinks, wow, she remembered this. Then they start playing, but Chinatsu doesn't know how to throw. Taiki gives her a suggestion, which allows her to throw. Chinatsu says, "You are amazing." Then they start playing and talk about the match with Haru. Taiki says, "Don't talk about it, I feel embarrassed." Chinatsu says, "You play well. You were slow in the first round, but you scored a lot better points in the second round. Next time you play, you will definitely win." Taiki feels good hearing this. Taiki sees a keychain on Chinatsu's bag that says chai. Taiki sees this and understands that Haru must have given it to her. While he is looking at it, Chinatsu says, "Everyone in class calls me Chi, affectionately." Taiki feels relieved hearing this. Chinatsu suggests going back. Taiki says, "It might not matter to you, but it would be a little strange for me to go to my house with a girl." The next day, a notice is posted at school that Taiki and Haru will both play as a doubles team. Taiki thinks, "I was supposed to compete with Haru and defeat him as rivals." Haru says to Taiki, "Shall we go for practice? Do you like Chinatsu?" Taiki gets scared hearing this. Then they both start playing. Haru beats him badly, and when Taiki comes to the classroom, he is in bad shape. Hina and Kyo are also there. Taiki explains, "Haru keeps giving me physical training all the time, and in 1 week, he's beaten me up. Only the classroom is where I can get some rest." Kyo says, "I didn't think he would train you so badly." Hina says, "Well, he wants to show you that if you mess with my girl, he'll do the same to you." The next day, some seniors meet Haru and Taiki outside of school, where Chinatsu is also present. Haru pulls Taiki towards him and insults him. Taiki says in his mind, "Now I can't say anything." Just then, Haru receives a message. Haru says, "I just got a message from my girlfriend." Taiki understands. There's nothing between Chinatsu and Haru. Haru says to Taiki, "I don't think you are going to get a girlfriend anytime soon." Taiki, after breakfast, takes his gym uniform to school and is happy that his crush is living with him. In the next scene, Taiki receives a message from Chinatsu at school. Chinatsu tells him that the uniform he has is hers. Taiki checks the uniform. Chinatsu's name is written on the uniform. Seeing this, he feels embarrassed. Chinatsu tells Taiki to come to the AV room. Taiki goes towards the AV room when he meets Haru. Haru says, "What are you doing here? Come with me to practice." Taiki says, "I'll practice after school," and walks away. Taiki comes to the AV room, and Hina, seeing Taiki, asks, "What are you doing here?" Taiki bumps into a girl and the uniform falls to the ground. Hina says, "I'll pick it up." Taiki says, "No, don't touch it." Hina asks, "Why? Can't I touch it?" Taiki explains, "I haven't washed this uniform since summer." Hina moves away and says, "You haven't washed it since summer?" Taiki says, "Yes, that's why I'm telling you not to." Taiki receives a message from Chinatsu telling him to come to the school rooftop. Taiki goes to the school rooftop and gives Chinatsu the uniform. Just then, the announcement for gym class to start is made. Chinatsu says, "I don't have time," and starts changing her clothes. Taiki says, "Wait, how can you change here?" Chinatsu says, "Don't worry. Us athletic girls are trained to change anywhere." Taiki goes inside and sits quietly. He hears Chinatsu changing her clothes. He imagines her in his mind. Chinatsu finishes changing and comes inside. Taiki says, "You go first. I'll come later." Chinatsu leaves. In the next scene, Taiki starts to leave after practice. Hina says to Taiki, "Taiki, you have a competition tomorrow, right? Don't lose." Taiki says, "Mind your own business." Haru says to Taiki, "Whatever happens, don't lose tomorrow. You have to make it to the top 16. In the next scene, Taiki thinks, "I can't lose tomorrow. I have to give it my best," and starts practicing to reduce his anxiety. Chinatsu comes and says to Taiki, "Why are you practicing now?" Taiki says, "I'm swinging my body to reduce anxiety." Chinatsu notices that Taiki is wearing his shirt inside out and tells him. Taiki feels embarrassed, and he takes off his shirt right in front of her to put it on the right way. Chinatsu blushes and says, "Haru said your fitness and body have improved a lot." Taiki says, "Yes, my body balance has improved, but my badminton hasn't improved." Chinatsu says, "Why are you thinking so negatively? Come here." And then she taps Taiki on the head and says, "This is a pressure point, and all your pressure is going to disappear. Relax. You have practiced a lot. Whatever happens tomorrow, it will be good." Taiki feels relaxed. Chinatsu explains, "If you don't reach it this year, you will definitely reach the finals in the next 2 years, and you'll become stronger." Taiki says, "By then, you'll graduate. I have to go this year." Chinatsu is shocked hearing this. The next day, Taiki and Haru win their match and reach the top 16. Haru says to Taiki, "You have to work hard. Kishi says to Haru, "You are Haru." Haru says, "I'm not." Kishi says, "You still haven't given me Chinatsu's number or introduced me." Taiki asks, "Chinatsu? And who are you? How do you know Chinatsu?" Kishi explains, "I came to your school's festival. That's when my wallet fell. Chinatsu returned my wallet. Seeing her, I fell in love with her. Haru didn't introduce me, but I'm going to crush you and get my revenge." Haru says, "Taiki will be playing in a single match, not me. Defeat Taiki, and I'll give you Chinatsu's number." Kishi gets happy. Taiki asks, "How did I get into this?" Next, Taiki goes home. Taiki's mom says to Chinatsu, "I'm so happy he won the match. I was so worried. There are still 2 years to go to nationals." Chinatsu says, "Yes, I also said that to Taiki. I felt very guilty. I didn't intend to hurt him. I myself am insecure. I have only 1 year left to go to nationals." Taiki's mom says, "He probably didn't feel bad." Taiki was listening to all this. The next week, a match takes place between Taiki and Kishi. Kiyu and Haru are watching his match. Kiyu says to Haru, "The condition you put between them is strange." Haru says, "Yes, but I know Taiki is going to win this match because I trained him." Then the match starts. The basketball team arrives. Chinatsu was among them. Kiyu tells Chinatsu, "Your phone number is on the line in this match, and Haru is the reason behind it." Chinatsu gets angry hearing this. Kiyu says, "Taiki won't get anything for winning the match. If he wins the match, you should take him to the aquarium or somewhere like that." Chinatsu is surprised hearing this. Kiyu explains, "You play a very big role in his life and he is so motivated because of you." Chinatsu says, "I don't think that's true. I don't get that kind of vibe from him." Kiyu says, "I'm his friend and I know what he's like." Chinatsu says, "Okay, if Taiki wins this match, I will take him to the aquarium." Maka and Taiki wins. In the next scene, Taiki comes in second overall. Just then, Taiki receives a message. Chinatsu says, "Can we go to the aquarium?" Taiki gets nervous and drops his phone. Hina sees the message and asks, "When did you two get so close?" Taiki feels embarrassed and says, "I don't know either." Q says, "I told Chinatsu to do this." Taiki asks, "Are you crazy? What did you tell Chinatsu?" Q says, "If your opponent won, he would get Chinatsu's number. I told Chinatsu that if Taiki wins the match, you should take him to the aquarium," and she agreed. Hina says, "Taiki, this is a great thing. You are going to have your first date." Taiki feels very awkward and embarrassed. Hina starts to leave. It looks like she's not happy. In the next scene, Taiki comes to his house, and he can't understand what to do. He doesn't know how to face Chinatsu, and to reduce his anxiety, he starts doing push-ups. Taiki goes to his room and starts collecting information about fish from a fish encyclopedia. He can't decide what to wear. He looks for different magazines. He sees a girl in a beautiful dress in the magazine and imagines how lovely Chinatsu will look. Then he convinces himself that this is not a date, just a normal outing, and goes to sleep. When the alarm rings and he wakes up and checks the time, he's late. He runs to the station. Chinatsu arrives and asks, "Are you okay?" Taiki looks at Chinatsu. She looks very beautiful. Taiki, looking at Chinatsu, thinks in his mind, if this were a date, how great it would be. Chinatsu takes a picture of Taiki. He looks very ugly in it. Taiki says, "Delete this picture." Chinatsu says, "I'm not going to." Then they start walking around. Then they make eye contact, and Taiki blushes. A child bumps into Chinatsu while playing, and her hand touches Taiki's hand. Taiki likes this feeling very much and thinks, how great it would be if we were boyfriend and girlfriend and came for a date. Taiki says to her, "Don't you think we should go now?" and starts to leave. Then Chinatsu stops him and says, "I have something to tell you." Taiki is shocked and asks, "What do you want to say?" and thinks, does she also feel the same way about me as I feel about her? Chinatsu says, "Forgive me for that day. I said that if you don't succeed this year, you can go to nationals next year. I know you are working very hard for nationals, and you must have felt bad about my words." Taiki says, "Oh, so you are apologizing for that. Don't worry, it's not that big of a deal." Taiki sends Chinatsu a sticker and says, "Whenever you feel uncomfortable, send me this sticker, and I will understand that you want to talk to me. I will come to you." Chinatsu starts sending him the sticker continuously. Taiki, seeing it, gets confused and asks, "What do you want to do?" Chinatsu smiles and says, "Taiki, you are a good housemate." Taiki goes crazy hearing this. The next day in school, Taiki says, "Thank you" to Q. Q says, "You are scared and can't approach Chinatsu. Who knows? Maybe she also wants to go on a date with you." Taiki says, "Are you crazy? Why is all this happening?" And Taiki sees Chinatsu going with her friend with food. Chinatsu notices Taiki. She laughs and points out that there's rice on his face. Taiki wipes the rice off his face. Q says, Taiki, you have to focus. The prefectural qualifiers are about to start. Taiki says, yes, I know. The prefectural qualifiers are for those who have already won the original premiere, but I will give my 100%. The next evening, Hina comes out of the chiropractor clinic after her treatment and is shocked to see Chinatsu. Chinatsu asks, did you come here for your treatment? Hina says, I just came for my regular checkup. Then both come out to go home, and it starts raining. Chinatsu had 2 umbrellas, so she gives one to Hina. Hina starts going home. Just then, the receptionist comes to give Chinatsu the mobile phone, but Chinatsu has gone far away. Hina says, give me this phone. I will return it. Hina follows Chinatsu and sees Chinatsu going inside Taiki's house. Taiki opens the gate and welcomes Chinatsu. Seeing this, Hina is shocked. Hina thinks, what is Chinatsu doing at Taiki's house? Then she says to Taiki, hey Taiki, what are you two doing here? I need an explanation. Taiki explains the whole situation to Hina. Hina says, I thought you trusted me. Then Hina puts heavy books on Taiki's feet and says, this is your punishment. You have to keep it like this for 5 hours, and this punishment is also for Chinatsu. Hina, while going home, thinks, oh, so they have been living together for quite some time and have become quite close. Thinking this, she bumps into a pole. The next day, the coaches praise Hina after seeing her practice. Then, seeing Taiki, she says to him, what are you doing here? Are you keeping another secret from me? Taiki says, my nail got hurt. Hina starts shouting, no, you should put medicine on it. Hina sees a charm tied to Taiki's foot and asks, do you also wear such things? Taiki says, Chinatsu gave me this. Hina asks, oh, are you starting to date? Taiki says, this is not a romantic gift. We are the same, and we also have the same goal of going to nationals. Hina says, boys go crazy in love. She says in her mind, people who are the same and have the same goal. I can say for sure that when they get tired after hard practice, they must think about each other. Then she starts crying secretly and remains sad all day. The next day, Hina starts making many mistakes in practice. Taiki also notices. Taiki says hi to Hina, but Hina ignores him. Taiki says to Q, she seems a bit strange. Before, when I saw her, she used to ask for $3,000. Q says, maybe she is angry with you. Taiki tells Kyo all of Hina's words. Hina thinks, people are realizing that my mind is somewhere else. I have to get back into my character. Next, Hina does yoga and practice in the morning. And while going, she bumps into 2 boys, and her foot gets injured, and she thinks, nationals are coming, and my foot is injured. What will I do now? Taiki comes there and asks, are you in too much pain? Come on, I'll take you to the nurse. Hina says, what are you doing here? What if Chinatsu sees you? Taiki says, have you lost your mind? Who is thinking about her? Don't think nonsense things. Next, in the medical room, the doctor says to Hina, you are perfectly fine. You are taking too much tension because of the tournament. Taiki says, you are such a drama queen. Hina says, I have a lot of responsibilities. You won't understand. Anyway, I haven't been able to sleep these days. Taiki starts acting like he's writing and says, you can discuss it with me until the pain goes away. Hina starts explaining, my father has a good reputation, and people think I should also perform well. I don't think I will be able to win according to this. Taiki says, you are a born fighter. I know you so well. You won't lose without fighting. Hina feels ashamed and says, I am angry with you. You are not understanding. Taiki says, you are not going to lose. Now there is no excuse left either. Hina says, who is saying I will lose? And stops Taiki and says, Taiki, can you say good luck to me? Taiki says, good luck. Hina gets happy hearing this and says, do you think I need your good luck? Taiki says, you were the one who made me say it. In the next scene, Hina wins the prefectural qualifiers with the first rank. Taiki says, I was worrying about her for nothing. I am happy for her. Hina says, take out $10,000. Taiki says, you have increased your price. Hina says, just kidding. Your luck isn't working right now. And leaves. Taiki thinks, it's a good thing. Hina should go to nationals. Hina has worked hard. Just then, Chinatsu also comes and tells, today I met Hina at the chiropractor clinic. Taiki asks, did she say anything strange? Chinatsu says, no, Hina said thank you for giving her the umbrella. And she won the prefectural qualifiers being a first-year student. Taiki says, Hina wasn't satisfied with her performance. She's a gymnastics fangirl. Then Taiki goes to sleep. Chinatsu is shocked because Hina had also said the same thing for Taiki, that Taiki is a badminton fanboy and thinks they both can become a couple. If Hina likes Taiki and is perfect for Taiki, then I am coming between them, and that shouldn't happen. It's just a matter of graduation. Then I will leave Taiki's life. In the next scene, Taiki goes to school. In school practice, Haryu defeats Taiki and says to Taiki, if you keep playing like this, your dream of going to nationals will remain just a dream. Taiki, while going home from practice in the evening, sees Chinatsu carrying luggage and thinks, should I help her? And offers Chinatsu help. Chinatsu says, I can carry it. But Taiki takes the bag from Chinatsu and they start going home. On the way, Taiki asks Chinatsu to go to a place. Taiki takes Chinatsu to a temple and explains, whenever something important is about to happen in my life, I come here to pray for victory. Then both pray in front of the temple. The next day, in the basketball team's match, Chinatsu leads her school to victory. The Kagohara Academy coach watches Chinatsu's match recording with his team, and they talk against Chinatsu. Chinatsu and Nagisa overhear, and Chinatsu is hurt by this. In the next scene, Haru says to Taiki, we have played a total of 13 matches, and I have won every match. Taiki thinks, before the tournament, I must win one match against Haru. Taiki and Kyu are going home, and Kyu asks Taiki, will you ask Chinatsu out on a date? Taiki says, I want to ask, but if Chinatsu rejects, it will be difficult to live in the same house. Just then, Haru calls Taiki and Kyu and gives them $100 and says, go buy something you like. Taiki and Kyu bring fried chicken from the store, and Chinatsu and Hina are also there. Seeing Taiki, Hina takes a piece of fried chicken and says to Taiki, when you win, I will give you a gift. Taiki and Chinatsu make eye contact. Chinatsu asks Taiki, can I take a piece of fried chicken? Taiki offers Chinatsu fried chicken. Chinatsu eats it and gets happy and says, I feel quite jealous. And then Chinatsu leaves from there, and Taiki gets confused. Chinatsu sees Taiki stretching and asks Taiki, what are you doing? Taiki explains, I'm nervous for the doubles today, so I want to relax with stretching. Chinatsu also starts stretching. In the next scene, the tournament starts. Haru and Taiki lose their duel match against Sachikawa High School. Taiki gets disappointed. Haru says to Taiki, don't stress too much. Focus on your game. In the next scene, Taiki's mom congratulates Chinatsu. Chinatsu comes to Taiki's room and sees Taiki has fallen asleep sitting. The next day, Taiki has a match against a player from Sachikawa High School. Taiki loses both matches. Taiki is sitting alone when Hina comes there with snacks for Taiki. Taiki tells Hina, I practiced well, but still, I lost. In the next scene, Haru loses the final match against a player from Sachikawa High School. Taiki goes home, and Chinatsu and Taiki's mom are talking. Taiki understands after listening to the conversation. Chinatsu has won the match. At school, Taiki is studying. Kyu says to Taiki, shall we go practice? While going for practice, Taiki calls Hina. Hina is studying and says to Taiki, you are disturbing me. In the next scene, Taiki sees Chinatsu practicing and says, we won't stay behind either, and goes for practice. Hina says to Kyu, Taiki will be sad because Taiki is out of the qualifier and Chinatsu is going to nationals. Kyu says, don't worry, Taiki will be normal in a few days. In the next scene, after the school exam, Taiki comes home and gets a fever and lies on the bed, remembering, I worked so hard, but I couldn't qualify for inter-high. All the hard work was wasted. Just then, the light in the room turns on. Chinatsu comes to Taiki, touches Taiki's forehead, and says, you have a fever. Taiki asks, what are you doing here? Chinatsu says, you are sick, you should lie down. Then Chinatsu makes noodles for Taiki. Taiki says to Chinatsu, now you can go. Chinatsu says, I will be here until you fall asleep. Taiki says, I'm not feeling sleepy. Chinatsu gives Taiki tablets and starts taking the plate away. Taiki gets up to help Chinatsu, but his balance goes out, and he starts falling. Chinatsu moves forward to catch Taiki, and both fall on the bed and get quite close. The next day, Taiki, while coming to school for practice, starts thinking about Chinatsu. How light Chinatsu's body is, and how amazing her fragrance is. Haru says to Taiki, if you are not feeling well, then rest. Taiki says, I'm fine. What are you guys doing? Haru explains, the coach has told us to clean the pool and is saying to help us in cleaning. Taiki starts refusing, then agrees after seeing Chinatsu. In the next scene, Taiki's whole family is having a barbecue party. Taiki's father congratulates Chinatsu for qualifying for inter-high. Taiki says to his father, Mom is asking for noodles. Taiki's father says, I forgot to bring the noodles. Chinatsu says, I'll bring the noodles. Taiki's father says to Taiki, you go with Chinatsu. Both are coming with the noodles when Chinatsu says to Taiki, I want to eat ice cream. Taiki gives Chinatsu ice cream. And while they are eating ice cream, a car comes from behind, and Taiki pulls Chinatsu towards himself, and both get very close. Taiki starts moving forward, but Chinatsu stops Taiki and says, forget about everything. Taiki understands Chinatsu is talking about when he was sick. Chinatsu says, I forgot I was living with a boy. I will be careful in the future. Taiki gets shocked and thinks, has Chinatsu drawn a line between us? As if she knows my feelings? Taiki goes to the washroom and Chinatsu is there. Chinatsu asks Taiki, are you going to school? Taiki explains, yes, I am going to practice after doing homework with friends in the library. Chinatsu says, I also have to practice. Taiki and his friends come to the library for homework. Taiki, seeing the fireworks festival poster, says to Hina, the last time we went to the festival, we were in middle school, and that's when we started talking. Taiki says, we haven't gone to the festival since then. Hina says, we should go there. Taiki agrees and says, yes, we should go. Hina's friend says to Hina, are you going on a date? Hina says, no, he's just a friend. In the next scene, Taiki's mom asks Taiki, will you go to the festival? Taiki explains, yes, I'm going with my friend. Taiki's mom also asks Chinatsu. Chinatsu says, I will go with some friends. Taiki's mom says to Chinatsu, I will give you a yukata. Taiki imagines Chinatsu in a yukata. The next day, Taiki practices with Haryu. Taiki asks Hina, who else is coming to the festival? Hina gets surprised and says, I forgot to invite, but I will invite them. Taiki reaches the festival. Taiki receives a message from Hina saying, I have practice. I will be a little late. Seeing a girl, Taiki thinks it's Chinatsu, but when her face becomes visible, it's some other girl. Seeing apple candy, Taiki thinks, Hina likes this very much, and takes the apple candy. Just then, Hina arrives there and asks Taiki, are you taking this for me? Taiki says, you will have to pay for it. Taiki gets shocked seeing Hina wearing a yukata because Hina was looking very beautiful. Chinatsu arrives at the festival with her friends. Hina says to Taiki, you stay here, I will bring the noodles. Bringing the noodles, Hina and Taiki go to the spot. Taiki spreads the sheet to sit and both sit down. Hina is sitting silently, and suddenly a mosquito bites Hina's neck. Taiki gives Hina a powder to apply, but Hina can't apply it, so Taiki applies the powder on her neck. Just then, the fireworks start. Hina gets happy seeing it. There's a 20-minute break in the fireworks, so Taiki goes to the washroom. When Taiki comes out of the washroom, he sees Chinatsu with a child who was crying because she got separated from her mom. Taiki takes information about this from Chinatsu. Chinatsu says, I'm taking this child to the main tent. Taiki says, I will also come with you. Taiki and Chinatsu take the child to the main reception and discuss this with the authority. And they say, a girl had come whose child is missing. We will announce it now. Taiki says to Chinatsu, you sit here with the child. I will announce it in the crowd. Chinatsu sits with the child. The child asks Chinatsu, why didn't you wear a yukata? Chinatsu says, I wanted to wear it, but I don't know how to carry a yukata. The child says, it was also tough for me. My mom made me wear it with difficulty. Taiki finds the child's mother, and the child is reunited with her mother. The child puts her hairpin in Chinatsu's hair and says, always keep this pin with you. Taiki starts laughing seeing this. Chinatsu says, there's nothing to laugh about in this. Taiki says, yes, you should wear this every day. Taiki returns to Hina. Hina says to Taiki, we should come here every year. Taiki says, yes, absolutely. I enjoyed it a lot. Hina says in her mind, only the two of us. The next day, Chinatsu, seeing Taiki's bag, asks Taiki's mom, where is Taiki? Taiki's mom says, he has gone for a run. At school, Chinatsu, after practice, goes to open the stairs windows, and seeing Taiki sleeping there, she sits near him and thinks in her mind, Taiki, are you dating Hina? You both also went to the festival together. Hina also likes you very much. When Taiki's eyes open, Chinatsu has already gotten up and left. Chinatsu leaves the house for the inter-high match. Taiki brings Chinatsu's purse and says, you forgot your purse at home. Chinatsu takes the purse and starts to leave. Taiki wanted to say good luck to Chinatsu. Seeing the good luck charm on Chinatsu's foot, Taiki says to Chinatsu, you are still wearing the good luck charm? Come on, let's make a wish. Taiki wishes Chinatsu should give her best in the game and not get injured. Then Taiki diverts the power. Chinatsu says, I'm not feeling the power, but let's do a high five. Then both do a high five. In the next scene, Taiki goes to watch the badminton match on the inter-high day. Haryu's girlfriend Karen calls Taiki from behind and says, Taiki, I was talking to Chinatsu, you also talked to her. Before Taiki could say hello, the call gets cut. Karen says to Taiki, you must have felt bad, you couldn't talk to your crush. Taiki gets shocked and asks, how do you know Chinatsu is my crush? Karen says, I'm Chinatsu's best friend. I know everything. Taiki and Karen go inside the complex to watch Haryu's game. Haryu's game starts with Yudo, and Yudo wins the game. Karen gets sad at Haryu's defeat and, while leaving the complex, says to Taiki, "You should confess your emotions to Chinatsu." Taiki says, "I can't do this." Karen says, "You both live under one roof. It's very easy for you to say it." Taiki says, "What if I confess to Chinatsu?" And Chinatsu says no. Karen says, "Don't think so much. Confess what's in your heart to Chinatsu." Taiki, alone in the gymnasium, plays basketball while thinking about Chinatsu. Chinatsu looks very cute while playing basketball. He throws the ball into the basketball hoop while saying, "I love you." Hina comes there. Taiki asks Hina, "What are you doing here?" Hina says, "I had some work, and I had to tell the principal the result, and I want a treat from you." Taiki gives Hina a treat. Hina tells Taiki, "I got third place in inter-high." Taiki praises Hina for coming in third. Hina says, "Let's go to the park." Taiki and Hina go to the park, and Hina starts swinging, but Taiki looks at his watch again and again. Hina says to Taiki, "Why are you looking at your watch?" Taiki explains, "The fourth quarter of Chinatsu's match is going on at this time." Hina makes a love confession to Taiki. Taiki is surprised to hear this, and on the other side, Chinatsu's team loses to the opponent team. Chinatsu breaks down from the inside. Chinatsu's attention goes to the wishband, which had also broken, and she starts crying. Hina says to Taiki, "I don't want you to answer right now. I know you like Chinatsu, but if I don't say it now, I will always regret it myself." Taiki goes home, and Taiki's mom tells him that Chinatsu has lost her match. Taiki is surprised to hear this and goes to his room and thinks, "How will I meet Hina next time?" Chinatsu's friends wish Chinatsu a happy birthday. Taiki thinks of a gift for Chinatsu and says to Kyu, "Chinatsu is sad, so we won't have a big celebration." Hina comes, and Taiki says to Hina, "Can we go to the side and talk?" Taiki and Hina leave the gym. Taiki says to Hina, "I like Chinatsu. I want to give my best. Do you have any objections?" Hina says, "I have no objections. You give your best." In the next scene, Chinatsu receives a call from her mother while going home, and her mother wishes Chinatsu a happy birthday. Chinatsu is surprised and says, "I have become the vice captain." Her mother gets happy hearing this. Chinatsu texts Taiki as she cuts the call. She says to Taiki, "I have to go somewhere." Taiki and Chinatsu sit in the train and go to the beach. Chinatsu starts playing in the water, and both start splashing water on each other. Because of the slippery surface, Taiki grabs Chinatsu's hand, but Taiki himself slips, and his clothes get wet. Taiki wears his gym suit and tells Chinatsu, "I brought a present for you." Taiki takes out a cake and 17-year candles from his bag. Chinatsu is surprised to see the cake. Taiki starts singing the birthday song. Chinatsu gets very happy. In the next scene, Taiki and Chinatsu arrive at the station, but the trains get canceled because of the landslide. Both get a room. Taiki tells his mom on the call, "I am with my friends." Chinatsu comes into the room and brings games with her. Both start playing the game. Then Chinatsu's friend's video call comes, and she wishes Chinatsu a happy birthday. When the call cuts, Taiki says to Chinatsu, "I have to say sorry. On the day of the festival, I told you I was going with my friends, but Kyu was feeling unwell, and he didn't come. That's why I felt I wasn't loyal to you." Chinatsu is surprised to hear this. The next morning, Chinatsu wakes up and sees Taiki is sleeping sitting on the chair. Chinatsu starts smiling sitting in front of Taiki. Taiki and Chinatsu had become very good friends. Now both were starting to talk openly. Taiki goes to class to give the list to the second-year class representative, and Chinatsu is there. Taiki asks Chinatsu where the class representative is. Chinatsu says he has gone out. Seeing Chinatsu's window seat, Taiki says, "Your seat is very good." Chinatsu says, "Yes, if there wasn't a 1-year difference between us, we both would sit together." Taiki says, "Yes, it would be very good. I would get my homework done by you." Chinatsu says, "That wouldn't happen at all." The class teacher comes into the class, and Taiki leaves the class. In the next scene, Taiki comes home and is shocked to see Chinatsu's mom. Chinatsu's mom had come to take Chinatsu. Taiki helps Chinatsu's family in shifting. Taiki and Chinatsu promise to meet regularly in practice. Taiki comes for practice in the morning, and Haryu takes Taiki for running. Taiki comes to class and is called to the culture program representative meeting. When Taiki goes to the meeting room, he sees Chinatsu. Taiki and Chinatsu make eye contact, and Taiki gets happy. When Chinatsu starts looking ahead, Taiki bows his head and sits down. In the next scene, Taiki says after seeing Chinatsu at home, "You have come back." Chinatsu says, "I had forgotten something. I have come to take that." Chinatsu says to Taiki, "You didn't come to practice." Taiki explains, "I had gone for a run with Haryu." Chinatsu says, "I'm sorry, I had also gotten on the wrong train, and I got late coming." Then both promise to meet the next day. The next day, Taiki goes to take some things from the school store, and Chinatsu is in the store. Taiki says good morning to Chinatsu. Chinatsu says, "You said good morning even in the morning." Taiki says, "When I see you, my morning becomes good." Chinatsu explains, "Our class theme is on a cafe." Taiki imagines Chinatsu in a cafe dress. Chinatsu explains, "I am the class representative. I am not role-playing." In the next scene, Taiki is telling the juniors about the game. When the junior leaves, Chinatsu sees Taiki and says to him, "Taiki, you must be feeling good." Taiki says, "Yes, I have to be perfect. I have to be taller." Chinatsu says, "No, you are fine as you are. Our eye contact will be maintained." Taiki thinks Chinatsu is saying right, but being a boy, I have to be taller. Hina goes to print her script, and Chinatsu is there. Hina tells Chinatsu, "I have confessed to Taiki." Chinatsu explains, "We both are not living together." On the other side, Taiki is practicing. His skills are improving a lot. The coach explains, "You guys have a practice match with Sachikawa High School." Taiki gets a little worried. Hina says to Taiki, "You guys have a match on Saturday. I will come to cheer you on." Taiki says, "There's no need for you to come. It's just a practice match." Hina says, "I will definitely come to cheer on the one I love." Taiki is practicing when Chinatsu says to Taiki, "Are you practicing so hard for the practice match that is on Saturday?" Taiki says, "Yes, for the same match." Chinatsu says, "I also have a match on that day. After my match ends, I will come to see your match and support you." Taiki says, "No, there is no need." Chinatsu asks, "Is there any problem?" Taiki says, "Even if I refuse, will you still come?" Chinatsu says, "Yes, that's true. I will definitely come to see your match." In the next scene, Taiki meets classmates who are preparing for the play. Taiki searches for Hina in the class. He helps Hina in her practice. Then Taiki loses to Harayu in the practice match. Taiki sees his friends who are perfect in their work and thinks in the gymnasium, "Only I am there whose progress is not happening." Taiki sees Yusa. Yusa asks Taiki for the way to the gymnasium. Hina and Chinatsu came to watch Taiki's match. Chinatsu's friend asks Chinatsu, "Were you with a boy on your birthday?" Chinatsu is shocked. Then Chinatsu tells her friend, "The family I was living with was Taiki's family." Her friend says, "You were living in the same house with a boy of the same age. Do you know how risky that is?" Chinatsu remembers all the moments with Taiki and explains, "There is nothing like that between us." Taiki wins the match against Yusa. Taiki is very happy to win the match. Chinatsu comes to Taiki and says, "Choose right or left hand." Taiki chooses the right hand. Chinatsu gives Taiki a water bottle, and she has a water bottle in the other hand too. Chinatsu explains, "There were some powers in the right-hand bottle." Taiki says, "Water tastes sweet after a workout." Taiki dedicates his match to Chinatsu because she was the reason Taiki used to practice in the morning, and he will learn many more things and move forward. Just then, a song starts playing. Taiki explains, "This is the song of our play." Chinatsu also starts singing the song. Taiki says, "You are not good at singing." Chinatsu says, "Such things are not said out loud," and says, Hina had also come to watch the match. Taiki gets embarrassed about Hina's kiss. Chinatsu asks about the kiss, and Taiki explains, "We didn't do it." Chinatsu asks, "How will we play this?" Taiki explains, "We will just pretend in the play." Taiki is sleeping at dinner time, and in his dream, he sees he has won the match, and everyone is praising him. Chinatsu was about to kiss him when Hina comes and kisses him. Then Taiki wakes up. On the Culture Festival day, Taiki is told that their play has been postponed because of a 10-minute issue. Taiki goes to the class and is surprised to see Hina in the outfit. Taiki was about to praise Hina when Hina blushes and goes out. In the next scene, Taiki goes for a morning jog, and passing through the park, seeing Chinatsu, he asks Chinatsu, "What are you doing?" Chinatsu says, "The gymnasium is not open, so I am practicing here." Taiki asks, "Why are you practicing today?" Chinatsu says, "You yourself have also come for training." Then both start playing basketball. Taiki says, "You motivate me, and I give my 100%. Chinatsu explains, "You are also inspirational for me. I put in my 100%. Today, around 2 p.m., the second year's boys band is going to play. If you don't have any objections, will you come with me?" Taiki says, "Yes, I am ready." In the next scene, Taiki and Kishi go to watch Chinatsu's play. Taiki and Kishi are surprised to see Chinatsu in the waitress's dress. Taiki waits for Chinatsu outside the concert hall. Then Chinatsu and Taiki go into the concert hall and enjoy. Taiki says to Chinatsu, "I am enjoying it a lot." Because of the noise, Chinatsu can't hear him. So Taiki tells her in Chinatsu's ear. Taiki asks Chinatsu, Why did you choose only me among all your friends to come with you? Chinatsu tells Taiki her answer, but because of the loud music, Taiki can't hear. Taiki asks again, but Chinatsu refuses. After the concert, while leaving, Chinatsu says to Taiki, "Your play is at 3 o'clock, right? I will definitely come to see it." Taiki gets very happy and goes to the class, and there he finds out that the one who is going to play the role of the prince has a problem, so he is not doing the role, and someone else will have to do the role. Taiki is forced to play the role of the prince. Then Taiki agrees to be the prince and starts looking at the script. In the audience, Chinatsu, Haru, and Karen also come. Taiki messages Chinatsu that I am going to play the role of the prince and don't be shocked to see me on stage. Taiki gets depressed thinking that he will have to kiss Hina. Then Hina comes and says to Taiki, "Don't take so much stress, everything will be all right." Hina is performing on the stage when Taiki comes on the stage, and both are shown as lovers. Then the witch gives Hina a poisoned apple. Taiki is looking at his lines, and his turn comes. Taiki pretends to kiss Hina, and Snow White comes alive. The light that was hung over the stage falls down, and Taiki jumps and saves Hina, and a real kiss happens. Gossip starts in all the audiences, and Chinatsu is also watching. Taiki's friends start making fun of him. Taiki makes coffee at home and starts drinking coffee when he sees Chinatsu in front of him. Chinatsu explains, "My grandpa has had surgery, and from tomorrow, I am going to live at his house." Taiki thinks, Chinatsu must have seen my kiss scene too. What must she be thinking about me? Later, Chinatsu says to Taiki, "I'm staying at Karen's house tonight." Taiki thinks, Chinatsu is talking normally. She isn't worried about the play. Then Taiki is about to ask Chinatsu about the play, but Chinatsu puts a snack in Taiki's mouth and leaves. Nishita says to Taiki, "I know that your date with Hina is fake, and I know the kiss was an accident." Just then, Hina comes there and says, "Give me my $1." Taiki says to Hina, "Are you crazy?" Then Hina leaves from there. Chinatsu is at Karen's house. Karen says to Chinatsu, "We used to spend a lot of time together in childhood." Chinatsu says, "You're right, but now I'm focusing on my game." Karen says, "Everyone's obsessed with the game." Haru is also practicing. "A friend of mine wants your number." Chinatsu refuses. Karen says, "Don't you like any guy?" Chinatsu says, "Yes." Karen says, "Is that guy Taiki?" Chinatsu says, "Yes, I like him." When Chinatsu comes to Taiki's house, Taiki's family welcomes her. On the other side, Taiki's coach announces, a new member is coming to the team. Ayame comes and says, "From today, I'm the new manager." Taiki shows Ayame the store. The room was very dirty. Ayame picks up a towel. Seeing a spider under it, she jumps on Taiki. When Chinatsu comes there, Ayame goes towards Chinatsu. Chinatsu asks Taiki, "What did you do?" Taiki says, "I didn't do anything. There was a spider here." Ayame says to Taiki, "Quickly throw the spider away." Chinatsu catches the spider with a towel and throws it away. In the next scene, Taiki sees a boy in the basketball team and asks Ayame, "Who is this boy?" Ayame tells, "He has come to study from abroad." Taiki says, "He is a cool guy." Ayame says, "Yes, but I am interested in Yusha." Hina is talking to Taiki. Seeing Hina's expression, Ayame feels that Hina likes Taiki. Ayame goes to throw the trash and Hina also comes there. Then Ayame asks Hina, "Do you like Taiki?" Hina is shocked. Ayame says, "Don't worry, he's not my type. You should confess to Taiki." Hina says, "I have already confessed to him. I refuse to give him an answer. He doesn't see me as more than a friend." Ayame says, "Taiki is just taking advantage of your kindness. You should grab him by the collar and ask him." Hina says, "I like him and I enjoy it." In the next scene, Taiki is going home. Chinatsu calls Taiki Anota. Taiki says, "Why are you calling me that?" Chinatsu says, "It's a nice nickname, isn't it?" Taiki says, "I'm embarrassed. Please don't call me that. And if I call you Chi, will you be bothered?" Chinatsu says, "No." Taiki asks, "Have you bought something?" Chinatsu says, "It's a secret, I'll tell you after going home." Chinatsu had bought a cactus and waters it after going home. Ayame comes to know that a joint training camp for all teams is about to start, and then signals to Hina, "Leave everything to me. I'll fix it." Everyone goes for camp training, then everyone is given tough training. At night, everyone was coming out after taking a bath. Hina comes out after taking a bath and says to Taiki, "You look tired, and it feels like I'm meeting you after a long time because the gyms are separate." Taiki says, "Yes, the day was very long. I'll go and sleep." Nishita says, "I have brought a game." Then everyone starts playing the game together. In the game, Taiki is asked whom he loves. Taiki starts to tell the truth. That's when Kyo says he loves Yusha because even while sleeping, he was taking Yusha's name. Then a man comes and tells everyone to go to sleep. Everyone goes to sleep. Taiki thanks Kyo for helping him and saving him. The next morning, everyone is woken up early. Taiki wakes up very fresh. Taiki thinks, I have to focus on my training, otherwise what is the point of training? Just then a man comes with a bag. Seeing the bag, Taiki says, this bag belongs to Hina. Give it to me. I'll give it to her. Taiki is going to give the bag to Hina when Hina's bus leaves from there. Taiki runs after the bus and tells it to stop. The bus stops, then Taiki gives Hina her bag. Hina thanks Taiki for returning the bag. After lunch, Chinatsu and Taiki meet. Chinatsu pulls Taiki's shirt and asks Taiki, how did you get hurt on your hand? Taiki says, I accidentally fell. Chinatsu says, you should put a bandage on it, otherwise the infection will spread. Then Chinatsu puts a bandage on Taiki and tells, I also used to fall a lot earlier and I used to get hurt a lot too. Then Chinatsu writes fight on the bandage and tells, we have to get well soon. Chinatsu's friends call her and she leaves. In the next scene, everyone starts going to their respective rooms after their practice. Taiki asks Chinatsu's friend Nagisa, where is Chinatsu? Nagisa tells that Chinatsu has gone for jogging. In the next scene, Hina was looking for Taiki, but nobody knows anything. Taiki goes to find Chinatsu and starts jogging with her. Then Taiki starts thinking about Hina's feelings and he remembers Ayame's words. If someone has confessed to you, then you should date. Then Taiki sees a banner there. Beware of bears. Bears have been seen here. Taiki is running in his thoughts. Then Chinatsu's voice comes from behind. A grandma is on Chinatsu's back. Taiki asks Chinatsu, what are you doing here? Grandma starts telling, I had gone to cut plants on the mountains. Then I got hurt on my foot. Chinatsu was passing by and came to help me and brought me down by lifting me up. Chinatsu says to Taiki, I had called from the phone booth on the way and told that I would be late. Taiki says, maybe I left from there earlier. Taiki and Chinatsu drop Grandma at her house. In the next scene, gymnastics players come to the gym. Taiki feels that Hina has forgotten something. That's why she has come here. Hina says good luck to Taiki and leaves. Hina's friend says to Hina, now that you have seen Taiki, your day will be good. Hina starts blushing and says, it's nothing like that. We both meet every day. Hina's friend says, have you heard the bonfire story? Hina says, yes, where the boy and girl confessed to each other. Hina's friend says, yes, now you should ask for an answer to your confession. Hina remembers old memories and says, no, I will not ask Taiki until he loves me. Hina comes to the fire camp and seeing Taiki there, starts going to talk to Taiki. Then she notices that Taiki's attention is towards Chinatsu. Seeing this, Hina feels very sad and remembers how she saw Taiki with Chinatsu last night when she was looking for Taiki and remembers the sweet moments spent with Taiki and becomes emotional. Then Hina goes towards the fire camp. Just then, Taiki says to Hina, there is a leaf in your hair. Hina tries to remove the leaf from her head but cannot remove it. Taiki says, I will remove it. Just then, Hina says in her mind to Taiki, I love you, Taiki. But Hina hides her emotions. Hina says to Taiki jokingly, wait, there's something in your hair too. Taiki says to Hina, no, you leave it. Q and Ayame are watching this act of Taiki and Hina. Ayame says, I like it when two people are friends first and then become a couple later. Just then, Ayame realizes, no matter what happens, I have to support Hina. The campfire starts burning. Ayame is noticing Taiki. Taiki is feeling cold and he goes to the gym to get his jacket. Ayame, to take advantage of this opportunity, says to Hina, I have left my sound system in the gym. Please bring it to me. Hina says to Ayame, okay, I'll bring it. Hina goes to the gym and understanding that Ayame has set this up, seeing Taiki in front. Hina says to Taiki, I have come to get Ayame's sound system. Taiki says to Hina, I will also help you find your sound system. Hina gets a very good view of the fire camp from the gym. So Hina says to Taiki, do you want to rest a little? We can sit here and enjoy. Taiki says, yes, I am also very tired. Hina asks, are you tired? Taiki says, yes, we have to run to the gym. Cars don't come to pick up us like you guys. Hina says, no, we also work very hard. Then both start talking about their past experiences. Hina is about to put her hand on Taiki's hand, but does not put it because of Chinatsu's thoughts. Hina asks Taiki, in the card game you had to tell who you like. Were you going to take Chinatsu's name? I know you like Chinatsu, but my feelings for you are real. You don't love me, but I love you very much. Taiki sits silently. Hina is about to leave from there when Taiki says to Hina, Hina, stop. I am extremely sorry. Hina says, why are you apologizing to me? Taiki says, I can't date you. Hina freezes there and then says to Taiki, I am not asking for an answer right now. Give an answer when you are free. You are not dating Chinatsu, so maybe your feelings for me will change. I will wait. Taiki says, Hina, I can't give you the full attention, which bothers me a lot. And one thing I want to clear up. As soon as she hears this, Hina steps forward and puts her hand on Taiki's mouth and says, Stop, I don't want to hear anything else now. You may like Chainatsu, but still I like you, and I will keep liking you until your feelings for me change. Taiki removes Hina's hand and says, The equation between us is not right. Then Hina says, Why is it not right? Everything will be fine when you start loving me. The memories and emotions we both have are more than those with Chainatsu. Taiki says, Whatever you say, I can never change the person I like. Hearing this, Hina breaks down completely, runs out crying. Ayame starts coming to the gym, then Hina runs past her. So Ayame goes behind Hina. Hina tells Ayame crying, Taiki likes someone else and he cannot change his choice at any cost. On the other side, Taiki sits hopelessly. Hina tells Ayame, I thought if I put in the effort, I would get the result, but today I feel like my effort will not work here. On the other side, Chinatsu looks around, but she can't see Taiki anywhere. Hina says to Ayame, If this was gymnastics, I would get a reward in it. But in the matter of love, my luck is bad, because I can bring a medal by working hard in sports, but not in love. While going for practice, Taiki thinks, I did right by telling Hina the truth, because if I had told it later, it would have hurt Hina a lot. In the next scene, Taiki and Chinatsu reach home at the same time. Taiki asks Chinatsu, Shall we go out somewhere? Chinatsu is about to ask Taiki, Where do you want to go? When Taiki says, Let's go shopping. I also have to buy a tracksuit. Would you like to come? Chinatsu says, Yes, but you will have to go to the cafe with me too. Then both plan to go on Saturday. While lying in his room, Taiki thinks about Chinatsu and decides, Now I will show that I am a real man and prove how much I love Chinatsu. In the gym, Taiki collides with Ayame. Ayame says to Taiki, Help me to put the stuff in the store. While helping Ayame, Taiki asks her, You have not been talking to me properly since the training camp. Ayame says, No, it's nothing like that. Then Ayame says to Taiki, You know how much Hina was crying. Taiki says, Yes, I know about it. Ayame says, You don't care at all how emotional she was. Taiki says, What can I do about it? I had shared my true feelings. Ayame asks Taiki, Why aren't you dating her? Is the person you like more beautiful than Hina? Just then, a man calls Taiki for practice. Then, in the gym, seeing Taiki, Chinatsu, and the basketball player talking, Kyu gets angry and asks him to practice together. On the other side, Hina is sitting wearing a bunny costume. And if someone asks, she says, I am concentrating by staying in the dark. But actually, she is crying because she is saddened to see Taiki and Chinatsu. Taiki reaches the location where Chinatsu is. Taiki comes to Chinatsu and asks, What were you watching? Chinatsu tells, I was just watching some clouds.